Right, so I have returned once again to actually deliver another stream of JoJo Part 5, Golden Wind. We're good to go, we're good to go, we're good to go. So yes, I have returned to actually cover an episode of JoJo Part 5, Golden Wind, and as we know, actually I'll cover episode 11 of JoJo Part 5, Golden Wind, and as we also know, episode 10 of JoJo Part 5, Golden Wind actually was one of the more interesting episodes of the whole entire series thus far, because what their productions actually did was really freaking well done with the whole thing with what's to come in the rest of the narrative. It's actually kind of well done how they actually kind of set up certain things and certain characters. I thought, you know what? Good job there, because actually on our third week of Narancia's actual kind of arc, and they actually kind of broke that up with the actual Hitman team. I thought that actually was really well done, because it was one of those things that it allowed you to actually kind of see how they work and actually how they function as human beings, and how we're meant to kind of be like, well, they might be tough adversaries later on. And also, it kind of told you how ruthless, in a way, the actual boss really is as well, without him actually even being there. I always thought that actually was a really well done thing, that actually kind of tell you how the boss really works and how he's actually kind of this formidable foe that isn't actually always there. That the mere thing he does elicits fear into everyone around them, also around him as well. It's actually a very interesting way to characterize. It's actually one of the more interesting things this actual part does. So yeah, episode 11 actually might in theory be even more interesting. Actually might in theory get Narancia's backstory as well. So have to wait and see what actually in theory happened with this episode. So anyway, it's actually put into actually gone live. So on to actually go. So gone live for JoJo Part 5, Golden Wind, episode 11. And with that, I believe we're good to go. Not on my side of Twitch, we're not though. And now we are. And now we are. So anyway, it's actually puts into full 20 it's showing the road. So in 3, 2, 1, let's actually start this thing absolutely now. Also, this fight's really freaking good. Though, the fight to come is just... it's beautiful. And the fight after that's even better as well. It's one of those fights that actually kind of is just really well done, because the way it's actually kind of shown, because it's shown in the perspective of people being small, and it's just kind of, it takes what's otherwise kind of very just normal things, actually kind of makes them even more terrifying. So I guess I was actually right with the whole entire mindset that she will get Narancia's backstory this week. I was right there. But yeah, as I was saying beforehand, this whole entire fight's kind of interesting because I always liked the whole entire idea of when you change perspective to a person being as small as an ant. It always kind of makes the littlest things even more terrifying. It's always been one of those things I've always loved to see in films. I mean, films have done it sometimes. It's one of those ones that's really hard to plot. It's actually always why I respected this fight so much because it pulls it off so goddamn well. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with the Hitman team last week was just so freaking good. It was just like, oh man, I loved it so much. It was one of those things I was like, you know what, we kind of needed that more than anything because it kind of gives you more time to kind of go, okay, yeah, they seem terrifying, or we actually know how they work, and actually when they come to actually kind of be in a narrative, you actually kind of understand that's how they work. So really, what this part has done so far with certain things, it's just so goddamn well done. I love it so much. It's also mildly interesting about how this part works, how a lot of the characters are victim of circumstances. Like Abakio, for example, and also now Nuntia as well. It's a very interesting way to actually kind of look at their lives. They're very much kind of victim of circumstances. It's also interesting how the characters tend to actually kind of subvert where they've kind of come from in the way. Like Bruno's a prime example of that, of where he is to how he actually acts as a human being. It's a really kind of cool concept to actually kind of do with Bruno's character. Honestly, do you really want to kind of find out the boss identity at this point? You saw what happened. You don't mess with the lad. Mate, do you watch JoJo? Do you know? Did you see what happened last week? You don't mess with the lad. Oh, hey demons, it's me, your boy. This stuff like this mortifies me. This thing mortifies me. Yeah, I have like a crippling fear of spiders. It's just like the mere thought of him saying those words of like, yeah, he could have you. Just like, no, please don't. Absolutely, please don't. Honestly, that actually is quite impressive, to be honest. That's like borderline, holy crap moment. Like, but that's impressive. This is so freaking good. Oh my god, this is so freaking good. He's so hot. Oh my god. That was a good episode. I say every single week because JoJo Part 5, my boys, is like beautiful, I must say. Beautiful part of JoJo. It's just like, it's one of my favourites. I love Part 5. Even more so now because the animation's making everything so much better. It was already like 9 out of 10, but it's just so freaking good, this part. In anime form. I just don't understand how they're doing it, but they're doing it. I'm like, lads, continue. I love you, David Productions. I love you. So yeah, I mean, the episode itself was freaking brilliant. It really was, because it delved a lot of kind of themes that the part actually kind of doesn't very kind of drum in a way, to the point it actually doesn't very feel genuine towards what's actually going on here. It's actually one of those things. I actually always loved how the themes play into how the characters function, and actually also how the narrative functions as well, and how they actually come together in that way. It's actually kind of cool. I just love how they do it. It's really well done, because each character's backstory kind of feeds into that whole entire overall theme. And it's kind of cool. It actually kind of also plays into the whole idea of fate as well, and what fate doesn't really bring to a person. But yeah, I actually kind of liked how they actually handled Narancia's backstory, because it's one of those things that Narancia's backstory is very interesting, because it kind of feeds into very much like Abakio's backstory. It's quite victim of circumstance. It's not as if they kind of actively looked in a way for what actually didn't really happen to him, because with Narancia, he only kind of did it because he thought he actually might look very cool. He actually thought you might look cool in the end, but he didn't really think about the ramifications behind the fact that actually he's been used as a scapegoat. He didn't think about that at all, and actually was kind of a victim of circumstance in a way. It's one of those things, he didn't really think about that, because he didn't really kind of imagine they would actually do that to him. He trusted them. And it kind of just makes you wonder, like, Christ, it's just like the lives these people lead back before Bruno kind of came into the picture really doesn't very kind of suck. It sucks really badly. It's depressing what life did to them, but it then tells you how much of a saviour in a way Bruno is as a character. Not to the point that it kind of feels as if they're kind of like making him to be this amazing, grandiose person, because he doesn't really think of himself that way, if you get what I mean. He never once thinks of himself as this kind of grandiose person. He thinks of himself as kind of a normal person. So it really kind of adds that humanity to him. It kind of brings him back down to human level. And I actually always kind of respect that about the part itself. They actually don't really overly kind of, in a way, big the characters up to the point that actually Doom 3 kind of feel bigger than what they meant to be. The enemies do kind of do that because it's the enemies, but the actual main characters don't ever do that. Actually, kind of always respected that about this part. They always kind of keep them to a ground level that actually can make you kind of feel as if, like, yeah, they Doom 3 filtering to what's actually going on here. And I thought it's actually one of the key moments that really does Doom 3 kind of show that. I thought, just, yeah, it was good. It really was. And I liked how they actually kind of utilized also the idea of the perspective kind of being like the idea of the spider. The spider itself normally is harmless. You don't really ever think anything of a spider like that unless you're Spider-Man. But I digress. You don't really think much about a spider, but at the size Narancia was, it makes you kind of go, Christ, that's terrifying, because a spider can kill you at that size because you're nothing but food to them. And it kind of makes you wonder what could have happened if Narancia didn't actually get out of that. But it also feeds into the idea that some of the traits that characters in Fury have are detriment to themselves as well, which actually kind of do in Fury respect as well. The idea of how they utilize the kind of quirks of the characters to their detriments in a way. Sometimes like with Narancia kind of remembering where to go and everything like that. It was actually kind of well utilized. It's one of those things that you think the actual character has the upper hand. The character might in Fury get out of it, but no, because there's one fatal mistake that actually kind of pulled. That actually in Fury kind of changed the whole entire perspective, which actually then kind of makes you wonder, oh crap. So in theory, no one is safe, and I actually always kind of like that, because really no one is safe in this part. Anything could happen to anyone at this point. It's one of the kind of things I also like about this part. Also, it happened in part 4 as well, is the idea of how they kind of grounded the characters to the point that they can in theory be defeated, and it actually did in theory show in this episode. I mean, yes, in the end they win, and Narancia won in part 4 they won as well, but it's just a brief moment. She had that tension of what could in theory happen. I kind of like that. I always kind of like that about this part as well. And when I read the manga, I always thought to myself, yes, every single fight they're in is perilous. Perilous is the word? Is it perilous? Is it perilous? Is it perilous? So when I say the word now, I'm kind of just thinking to myself, is it wrong? Well, you know what I mean. The idea is actually kind of dangerous is a better word. I think perilous is a better word for dangerous. I can't remember. My brain's not really working today. But yeah, it's a very dangerous kind of journey. It's always one of those things I always reflected how they actually kind of characterize the journey itself. Actually, how it's just one of those things that a simple shopping trip can in theory become this grandiose kind of fight itself. And the actual fight itself actually was really well done towards the end, how they actually utilized the fire as well. It's a very kind of normal way to end a fight, but it just looks really freaking cool. I'm like, yes, lads. Yes, and Narancia is just a really freaking cool character all around. I love him so much. He's an amazing character. We'll see more of him as time goes on, how much you just kind of grow to respect him. But you actually respect him in this episode because his loyalty actually has towards the actual group itself. Just shows that because of the way they actually kind of helped him. So it's one of those things. I love this part so much. It's just so freaking cool, and there's the way they're actually kind of doing it in this part so far. The anime form is just so freaking well done. And I don't know. The visuals are just, the OST is just. It's buonissimo JoJo. So yes, that is me done for today. So as always, if you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole, then do leave that good old follow on Twitch, because indeed it actually does help me quite a bit. And also, if you actually have enjoyed this stream on YouTube, then do leave a good old like, because indeed it actually does help me quite a bit. And actually, if you have enjoyed it here on YouTube and you do want to stay a bit longer, then do leave a sub, because indeed it does help me quite a bit. And also, after that whole entire point, if you want to stay a little bit longer after that whole entire point, then do in theory follow me on Twitter, because indeed it does actually help me quite a bit. Actually know which streams go live, and other streams I do as well. And also, Twitter is not your thing, doing through a Discord server as well, which doesn't free tell you when streams go live. And other streams I do as well, much like Twitter, Discord doesn't free tell you that as well. But until next episode 12 of JoJo Part 5, Golden Wind, I will see you guys later. Bye for now.